Thank you, Chairman Secretary and the Senate sponsors, Loretta Weinberg, Ray Lesniak, and especially Senate President Steve Sweeney for moving this monumental civil rights bill. America has always been the celebration of triumph over adversity. Despite the opposition and the religious bigotry, it was the right thing to do to correct the ills of discrimination based on race in this country. And despite the opposition and the religious bigotry, we celebrate those who fought for women's suffrage. In fact, our state, despite the opposition, upheld the foundations of liberty when we enacted the law against discrimination, which protects us against discrimination based on color, creed, sex, national origin, handicap status, and yes, sexual orientation. I hope no one here wants to turn back the clock in our rich history of safeguarding popular will over the rights of minorities, which has been a bedrock principle of this country since Madison's Federalist Paper No. 10, to protect the minorities. Despite this, you will hear the opposition today, but is nothing more than a repeat of the arguments used in the past, particularly with ending the ban on interracial marriages, such as it would degrade moral development, that it would destroy the institution of marriage, that it will be a slippery slope leading to marrying one's dog, despite the fact that paws can't sign legal documents. S1 and A1 merely uphold the principles established in the U.S. Supreme Court in the Virginia versus Loving decision, which declared the freedom to marry belongs to all Americans, that marriage is one of our vital personal rights, and the right to marry is essential to the orderly pursuit of happiness by a freed people. In fact, S1 and A1 does not create special rights, but enacts the safeguards and a recognition found in the Loving decision that everyone has been endowed with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's why New Jersey has chosen to include those words in our state constitution. We have a firm recognition of fairness and equity, and that's why S1 and A1 are so important. Just 3 years ago, I sat before the same committee to explain how our state discriminates against same-sex couples by not allowing them to marry. I'm here again to reiterate how our state is continuing to do so. The creation of civil unions has produced a separate but equal system. As we know from our history classes, separate but equal is unconstitutional, and as it is, inherently unequal. Today, marriage gives individuals countless legal rights, including the priority for inheritance rights, the rights to make medical decisions on a spouse's behalf, get health care coverage through work, or file joint tax returns. Only some of these are protected under our civil union laws, but then you have to ask yourselves, why does there need to be a distinction? Why does a gay couple who were legally married in another state, such as Iowa, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, or New York, can be duly married, yet when they cross the border into this state, they become civil unionized? Yet the darling of the social conservatives in this audience, Newt Gingrich, does not have to go through the same hoops. Additionally, many same-sex couples have children either biologically or through adoption, and denying their parents' right to marry is denying them the opportunity to strengthen the family structure through a civil marriage. S1 and A1 seek to rectify these injustices felt by many of our working taxpayer New Jerseyans, an injustice that the New Jersey Supreme Court ruled back in 2006, and an injustice that the majority of New Jerseyans agree with. And as long as the state is in the marriage business, it should be done on an equitable basis. Fact remains, marriage in this country is a secular right that is afforded to persons who abide by the state laws when they take a blood test and then venture to City Hall to acquire a marriage license. Whether a couple gets married by a person of faith, a mayor, or a judge, they must first meet the qualifications set forth by the state to receive a New Jersey marriage license. And notwithstanding to allay the fears of the religious community, S1 and A1 reaffirms that no religious organization would be required to solemnize any marriage in conflict with its doctrine or beliefs. It simply provides that any governmentally performed marriage would be a civil marriage and would be open to two consenting persons, whether they be of same sex or heterosexual. Likewise, it would convert those civil unions into civil marriages. Finally, Mr. Chair, make no mistake, this is very much one of those struggles for triumph over adversity. This is the stonewall of our time. to correct the last vestiges of discrimination in our state, and especially in light of the opposition who want to divide this country. I especially want to commend the young persons here who know better and ask why not, rather than why. They understand the struggle. They understand that the freedom to marry belongs to all Americans, regardless of race, creed, or sexual orientation. We adults should listen and enact this groundbreaking legislation. Thank you, Mr. Chair.